Their relationship has always lived in the gray zone between secrecy and speculation, but this single sentence instantly set the entertainment world on fire. "He's like a husband to me." Not whispered by anonymous insiders, not framed as tabloid rumor, but spoken directly by Kylie Jenner herself. In just a few words, everything changed. Before you click away, make sure you're subscribed and engaged, because this story unfolds layer by layer, and what's revealed near the end completely reframes how serious this relationship has become. Over the past several months, careful observers have noticed a clear shift in how Kylie Jenner talks about Timothée Chalamet. Once guarded and evasive, her language has grown warmer, steadier, and far more intimate. She no longer refers to him as a fleeting presence or a private companion. Instead, her words suggest permanence. In the tightly managed world of the Kardashian-Jenner media machine, this kind of verbal evolution rarely happens by accident. Every phrase is weighed, every implication understood. That's what makes this moment so powerful. Sources close to the couple describe a dynamic that feels less like celebrity dating and more like a shared life. Kylie and Timothee reportedly spend long stretches together away from cameras, prioritizing quiet routines over public spectacle. Private dinners, unannounced visits, and carefully synchronized schedules have become the norm. Kylie, known globally as a business powerhouse with a meticulously structured calendar, is said to be making conscious adjustments to align her commitments with Timothee's filming schedule. For those who know her history, that level of compromise speaks volumes. As their bond deepened, Timothee gradually moved closer to Kylie's inner circle. This wasn't a symbolic introduction, it was genuine integration. Family gatherings, trusted spaces, and moments typically reserved for long-term partners became part of his reality. What once seemed like an unlikely pairing now appears unexpectedly balanced. Kylie's upbringing in constant media exposure contrasts sharply with Timothee's roots in independent cinema and artistic discipline, yet that contrast seems to be the very thing anchoring them together. This is where the tension begins to rise. When a figure as globally scrutinized as Kylie Jenner uses the phrase, "like a husband," expectations naturally follow. The media dissected every public appearance, every absence, every subtle shift in body language. Was this a quiet signal of an engagement? A prelude to marriage? Or simply a deeply personal definition of commitment without legal labels? Kylie offered no clarification, and that silence only amplified the intrigue. Timothée Chalamet's response, or lack thereof, has been equally telling. He hasn't denied the implication, nor has he distanced himself from it. Instead, his demeanor has grown noticeably more grounded. Whether attending events or navigating spaces far removed from his artistic comfort zone, he appears calm, present, and emotionally invested. Relationship analysts note that this kind of consistency often signals stability rather than infatuation. Midway through this unfolding story, a crucial detail emerged. Industry insiders revealed that Kylie and Timothee have been having serious conversations about the future, conversations centered on balance, personal growth, and long-term priorities. These discussions aren't framed around spectacle or public milestones, but around what a shared life would realistically look like. That context gives Kylie's statement its true weight. Calling someone like a husband isn't about romance alone, it's about reliability, emotional safety, and shared responsibility. Those close to Kylie say this relationship feels fundamentally different from her past ones. There's less pressure to perform, less emphasis on public validation. Instead, there's a sense of calm, privacy, and mutual respect. Kylie is reportedly more relaxed, more authentic, and more confident in setting boundaries. The relationship isn't driven by headlines, it exists despite them. And here's the real payoff. There has been no flashy engagement announcement, no carefully staged reveal, no dramatic declaration. Instead, the revelation is quieter but far more profound. For Kylie Jenner, Timothée Chalamet is already fulfilling the most demanding role in a partnership, not as a title, but as a presence. He shows up consistently. That's what gives her words such gravity. This story isn't finished. In many ways, it's just entering its most important chapter. Whether that phrase eventually becomes an official status or remains a personal truth between them, only time will tell. But one thing is undeniable: the relationship between Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet has reached its most serious point since it first became public. If this perspective made you rethink where their relationship is headed, drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you see this as the calm before a wedding announcement, or proof that modern love doesn't always need labels? Like, share, and stay tuned, because the next development could arrive when no one expects it. And that's exactly why this story refuses to fade from public attention. As days passed after Kylie's statement surfaced, subtle details began to stack up, each one adding weight to the narrative. Observers noticed how Timothee's presence in Kylie's life no longer felt occasional or situational, but steady and embedded. He wasn't just appearing for milestone moments or high-profile events. He was there in the in-between spaces, the quiet gaps where real relationships actually live. Those close to the couple describe him as someone who knows Kylie's daily rhythms, her stress points, and her need for emotional grounding away from the noise of fame. What makes this development particularly striking is how intentionally low-key they've kept everything. In an era where celebrity relationships are often monetized through visibility, Kylie and Timothee have chosen restraint. That restraint, paradoxically, has made the public even more curious. The absence of performative romance has created a vacuum that speculation rushes to fill. Every rare appearance together now carries amplified meaning, every small interaction is treated as a clue. Behind the scenes, sources suggest Kylie has been recalibrating her priorities. Business remains central to her identity, but it is no longer the only axis around which her life revolves. She's reportedly delegating more, stepping back selectively, and protecting her personal time with a level of intention she hasn't shown before. Insiders say Timothee has been instrumental in encouraging that balance, not by demanding it, but by modeling a life where creative focus and personal boundaries coexist. Timothee, for his part, appears equally transformed. Known for his intense dedication to craft and a lifestyle shaped by film schedules and artistic immersion, he has reportedly embraced a more grounded domestic rhythm when he's with Kylie. Friends describe him as calmer, more centered, and unusually settled for someone at the peak of global stardom. That shift hasn't gone unnoticed in Hollywood circles, where stability is often the first casualty of success. Then there's the question everyone keeps asking but no one can answer definitively: why now? Why would Kylie Jenner, a woman who has mastered media ambiguity, allow a phrase this loaded to escape into the public sphere? Those familiar with her media instincts believe it wasn't accidental. While not a formal announcement, the wording feels deliberate, a controlled release rather than a slip. Enough to redefine the narrative, but not enough to lock them into expectations they may not be ready to fulfill publicly. As the story circulated, reactions poured in from fans and industry commentators alike. Some read the statement as an emotional milestone, others as a soft launch of a future commitment. A few skeptics dismissed it as hyperbole. But even among critics, there was an acknowledgement that something about this relationship feels fundamentally different. It lacks the volatility, the public unraveling, the dramatic arcs that have characterized many high-profile romances tied to the Jenner name. What adds another layer of tension is how seamlessly Timothee fits into Kylie's world without being absorbed by it. He hasn't reshaped his public identity to match hers, nor has she diluted hers to mirror his. Instead, they appear to operate on parallel tracks that intersect intentionally. That balance, between individuality and partnership, is often cited by relationship experts as a hallmark of long-term success. Midway through this unfolding narrative, a quiet but telling moment reportedly occurred. According to insiders, During a private conversation with friends, Kylie described feeling supported without being overshadowed. For those who know her past, that sentiment carries weight. It suggests a relationship dynamic built on mutual respect rather than control or dependency. Again, the word husband begins to sound less symbolic and more descriptive. Still, uncertainty lingers, and that uncertainty is part of what keeps audiences hooked. There is no ring to analyze, no wedding date to speculate on, no press release to dissect. Instead, there is a slow burn, an evolving partnership revealed through behavior rather than declarations. In the fast-paced attention economy, this kind of narrative progression feels almost radical. As weeks turn into months, one thing becomes increasingly clear: Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet are no longer navigating a new relationship. They're navigating a shared life. Decisions are reportedly being made with long-term consequences in mind, from where time is spent to how projects are chosen. These are not the moves of people treating a relationship as temporary. And this is where the emotional climax of the story lands. The power of Kylie's words doesn't lie in their shock value, but in their understatement. By saying Timothee is like a husband, she isn't promising a future headline. She's acknowledging a present reality. A partnership defined not by titles, but by consistency, trust, and emotional presence. For viewers and fans, that realization reframes everything that came before. The secrecy, the slow pace, the lack of spectacle, they were never signs of uncertainty. They were signs of intention. As the story continues to unfold, the world will keep watching for the next signal, the next confirmation, the next chapter. But perhaps the most important development has already happened quietly, away from cameras and curated moments. Two people, both shaped by extraordinary fame, appear to have found something ordinary and rare in each other. Whether this journey ends in marriage, lifelong partnership, or a chapter that simply reshaped them both, one truth now stands firm. This is the most serious, grounded, and emotionally mature relationship Kylie Jenner has ever publicly acknowledged. And if you've stayed until this moment, you already know why this story matters. Share your thoughts, join the conversation, and stay connected, because when the next chapter reveals itself, it won't arrive with noise. It will arrive with meaning. And that meaning continues to grow the longer this relationship stays intact under pressure. What many people overlook is how rare it is for a relationship like this to survive silence. In celebrity culture, silence is often interpreted as weakness or uncertainty. But in this case, silence has functioned as insulation. Kylie and Timothee have allowed speculation to exist without feeding it, a strategy that has quietly shifted power away from headlines and back into their hands. That choice alone suggests maturity and confidence in what they're building. Industry insiders note that Kylie's inner circle has also changed its tone. Friends who once spoke cautiously about her relationships are now described as relaxed, even optimistic. There is reportedly less concern about emotional fallout, fewer protective barriers put in place. That shift doesn't happen unless trust has been earned over time. Timothee, according to sources, didn't rush his way in. He stayed consistent, predictable, and emotionally available, qualities that often matter more than grand gestures. There's also a noticeable absence of drama. No cryptic social media posts. No sudden unfollows. No narrative whiplash. For an audience conditioned to expect chaos, this stability feels almost suspicious. But for those paying close attention, it reads as something else entirely: sustainability. Relationships built for longevity rarely announce themselves loudly. They reveal themselves slowly. Another detail fueling curiosity is how carefully both have protected their individual identities. Kylie hasn't softened her ambition. Timothee hasn't diluted his artistic edge. Instead of merging brands, they've merged lives in quieter ways, through routines, shared values, and emotional alignment. That distinction matters. It suggests they're not trying to become a power couple for optics, but a partnership for reality. As this dynamic became clearer, speculation shifted from "is this real?" to "how far along are they, really?" That's a critical transition in public perception. It signals that the relationship has crossed an invisible threshold from questionable to credible. And once credibility sets in, every future move carries greater weight. Sources close to the situation hint that conversations about long-term logistics have already taken place. Not dramatic plans, but practical ones. Time management, geographic balance, career pacing. These are the unglamorous discussions most relationships avoid early on, and the very ones that determine whether a partnership can last. Again, the phrase "like a husband" starts to feel less poetic and more factual. What's especially compelling is how grounded Kylie appears throughout this phase. Observers say she's less reactive to public noise, more selective about what she engages with. That emotional steadiness marks a departure from earlier chapters of her life, where public opinion often dictated narrative shifts. This time, she seems anchored elsewhere. Timothee's role in that grounding is subtle but significant. He hasn't tried to control the narrative or steer it. He simply remained present. That presence, unflashy, consistent, unforced, is often the hardest thing to maintain under scrutiny. And yet, it's precisely what Kylie's words appear to acknowledge. The story's tension now lies in anticipation rather than uncertainty. Viewers aren't waiting for confirmation of feelings, they're waiting to see how those feelings will eventually be expressed. Will there be a formal milestone? Or will this relationship continue to define itself outside traditional markers? Both possibilities remain open, and that openness keeps attention locked in. As time passes, one conclusion becomes increasingly difficult to ignore. This relationship isn't moving fast, but it is moving deep. Depth, not speed, is what has shifted the tone of the conversation. Depth is what transformed a private romance into a serious partnership worthy of long-term speculation. And that's why this moment matters. Not because it promises a headline, but because it reframes how commitment can look in the modern celebrity landscape. Kylie Jenner didn't announce a future. She acknowledged a present. A present built on reliability, emotional safety, and shared life rhythms. In the end, the most powerful stories aren't the ones that explode, they're the ones that endure. And as this chapter continues to unfold, one thing is certain: whatever comes next won't feel rushed, forced, or performative. It will feel earned. Stay engaged, stay curious, and keep watching, because when this story evolves again, it won't need exaggeration. The reality will speak loudly enough on its own. And that quiet endurance is exactly what keeps this relationship under a magnifying glass. As weeks go by with no dramatic reversals, no sudden scandals, and no visible cracks, the narrative surrounding Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet continues to mature. Public fascination is no longer driven by shock, but by curiosity. People aren't asking whether the relationship is real anymore. They're asking how deeply rooted it has become. In the celebrity world, that shift is significant. It marks the point where a relationship stops being entertainment and starts being taken seriously. Those who work closely with Kylie have noticed subtle but telling changes. Her decision-making process is reportedly more measured, more consultative. While she has always been decisive, insiders say she now weighs personal impact alongside professional gain. That doesn't mean compromise in ambition, it means clarity. Timothee, sources suggest, has become one of the few voices whose perspective genuinely matters to her when navigating major life choices. What's striking is how naturally this influence seems to exist. There's no narrative of sacrifice or control. Instead, it's described as alignment. Two lives moving in the same direction, even when the paths don't always overlap perfectly. That kind of alignment doesn't happen overnight. It's built through consistency, trust, and a shared understanding of what matters beyond fame. Observers also point to how protective Kylie has become, not possessive, but intentional. She rarely addresses rumors, but when she does speak, her words are deliberate. The "like a husband" comment stands out precisely because it breaks from her usual restraint. In media strategy terms, it functions as a recalibration. A subtle line drawn between past speculation and present reality. Meanwhile, Timothée continues to operate with a level of discretion that has only reinforced the seriousness of the situation. He hasn't leveraged the relationship for visibility. He hasn't reshaped his public persona to fit into a celebrity couple narrative. If anything, he's doubled down on his work, allowing his actions off-screen to speak for themselves. That restraint has earned him quiet respect within Kylie's circle. Another layer that adds weight to the story is how normalized their connection appears to those around them. Friends reportedly speak of them the way they would any long-term couple, without qualifiers or cautionary language. There's no "for now" attached, no expectation of volatility. That normalization is often the final step before a relationship fully solidifies. Still, the absence of a clear label keeps the tension alive. Modern relationships don't always follow traditional timelines, and Kylie and Timothee seem acutely aware of that. By avoiding rigid definitions, they've given themselves room to grow without external pressure. Yet, paradoxically, Kylie's choice of words suggests that internally, the definition already exists. That contradiction, private certainty paired with public ambiguity, is what makes this story so compelling. It allows fans and critics alike to project possibilities while the couple continues living their reality uninterrupted. Every quiet month that passes only strengthens the underlying assumption: this is not temporary. Industry watchers note that when high-profile couples reach this phase, the next development often arrives unexpectedly. Not because it's rushed, but because it's no longer reactive. Any future step, formal or informal, would likely come from a place of stability rather than spectacle. That possibility keeps audiences engaged, scanning for subtle shifts rather than dramatic announcements. At its core, this story isn't about predicting a wedding or defining a timeline. It's about recognizing a transformation. Kylie Jenner, once known for highly publicized relationships and intense scrutiny, now appears anchored in something calmer and more deliberate. Timothée Chalamet, often perceived as elusive and singularly focused on art, appears equally grounded. And that grounding is the real headline. When Kylie described Timothee as "like a husband," she wasn't inviting speculation, she was expressing a lived experience. One built on shared routines, emotional reliability, and mutual respect. Those are the elements that endure long after headlines fade. As this chapter continues, the audience remains in a state of watchful anticipation. Not for drama, but for confirmation of what already feels evident. Whether that confirmation ever comes publicly is almost beside the point. The relationship has already crossed the threshold that matters most. For now, the story continues quietly, steadily, and without spectacle. And in a world obsessed with noise, that may be the strongest signal of all. And that signal keeps getting stronger the longer nothing happens. In an industry addicted to constant updates, the lack of disruption has become the story itself. No breakup rumors gaining traction, no sudden distancing, no competing narratives quietly planted through unnamed sources. Instead, the storyline surrounding Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet has stabilized into something rare: continuity. Each passing week without contradiction reinforces the idea that this relationship is no longer fragile or experimental. It's settled into a rhythm that doesn't require explanation. People close to Kylie reportedly describe her current phase as one of emotional clarity. Not heightened romance, not public excitement, but calm. That distinction matters. Calm doesn't sell headlines easily, but it defines longevity. Those same sources say Kylie is more selective than ever about who she allows into her private space, and once someone is in, the expectations are different. Timothee, by all accounts, has met those expectations quietly and consistently. There's also a growing awareness that this relationship exists on its own timeline, deliberately detached from public pressure. Kylie has lived her entire adult life under scrutiny, and if anyone understands the cost of rushing milestones for optics, it's her. That history may explain why the language she used carried so much weight. Calling someone like a husband without announcing a formal step is, in itself, a declaration of control over her narrative. Timothee's position in that narrative is equally telling. He has not attempted to redefine himself through the relationship, nor has he resisted being part of Kylie's world. Instead, he appears comfortable occupying a space beside her rather than in front of or behind her. That balance, between presence and independence, is often what separates lasting partnerships from intense but short-lived ones. As attention continues to swirl, another subtle shift has emerged. Coverage of the couple has grown less speculative and more observational. Reports focus on behavior rather than rumor, on consistency rather than surprise. That evolution reflects a broader recognition: the relationship no longer needs to be proven. It's being lived. What adds to the intrigue is how this dynamic contrasts with both of their past experiences. Kylie's previous relationships often unfolded under heavy public expectation, while Timothee has historically kept his personal life distant from mainstream narrative. Together, they've created a middle ground, visible enough to be acknowledged, private enough to remain intact. That balance is not accidental. Some insiders suggest that the reason Kylie's words resonated so strongly is because they captured something that had already been apparent behind the scenes. Timothee isn't a future plan in her life, he's a present constant. He's someone involved in daily decisions, emotional check-ins, and long-term thinking. Those roles are typically reserved for partners who have already crossed an internal line, regardless of external labels. And that's where the story quietly reaches its deepest point. The public may still be waiting for a defining moment, but internally, that moment may have already passed. When Kylie framed Timothee as like a husband, she wasn't forecasting what might happen. She was describing what already is. That realization reframes every prior question. The secrecy wasn't hesitation. The slow pace wasn't uncertainty. It was intention. It was two people choosing depth over display, substance over speed. As this relationship continues to hold steady, speculation will inevitably persist. That's the cost of visibility. But the foundation now appears strong enough to absorb that pressure without cracking. Each uneventful week strengthens the same conclusion: whatever form this partnership ultimately takes, it's being built with care. For audiences watching from the outside, the appeal lies in that restraint. In a culture driven by instant gratification, this story unfolds gradually, almost defiantly so. And that's why it keeps attention locked in. The next chapter, whatever it may be, won't arrive as a reaction. It will arrive as a continuation. And when it does, it will feel less like a surprise and more like a confirmation of everything that's already been quietly established. Because sometimes, the most powerful commitment isn't announced. It's lived. And living it day after day is what ultimately separates speculation from reality. As time stretches on, the public narrative around Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet continues to evolve in a way few expected. Instead of escalating into spectacle, it has settled into something far more compelling: quiet proof. Each appearance, each reported interaction, each absence from unnecessary drama reinforces the same message. This is not a relationship fighting to survive attention. It's one that has learned how to exist beyond it. People familiar with Kylie's past note how different this phase feels from anything that came before. There's no urgency to define, no rush to defend, no need to correct every rumor. That emotional steadiness signals confidence. When someone feels secure in their personal life, they stop performing reassurance for the outside world. Kylie's behavior reflects exactly that shift. Timothee's influence, according to those close to the situation, isn't loud or directive. It's stabilizing. He's described as someone who listens more than he speaks, someone who offers perspective rather than pressure. In high-profile relationships, that trait is rare and often decisive. It allows space instead of demanding it, which may explain why Kylie appears more grounded than ever. What's particularly striking is how this relationship has redefined expectations around celebrity romance. There's no visible attempt to brand it, package it, or turn it into a storyline with a beginning, middle, and end. Instead, it unfolds like real life does, unevenly, privately, and without constant documentation. That authenticity, whether intentional or instinctive, has resonated strongly with audiences tired of manufactured intimacy. As months pass, insiders say discussions between Kylie and Timothee have continued to deepen. Not in dramatic gestures, but in everyday planning. Where to spend time. How to protect privacy. How to support one another during demanding work cycles. These conversations, often invisible to the public, are the scaffolding of long-term partnership. They don't generate headlines, but they determine outcomes. The tension in this story now comes from anticipation rather than doubt. People aren't watching for collapse. They're watching for confirmation of what already feels established. That anticipation is powerful because it's rooted in consistency. Nothing fuels curiosity more than a narrative that refuses to break. Even media coverage has adapted. The tone has softened. The questions have shifted. Instead of "is this serious?" the framing leans toward "how serious is it?" That subtle change marks a turning point. It signals collective acknowledgement that the relationship has passed an internal threshold. Kylie's choice of words continues to echo through that shift. Like a husband wasn't a romantic flourish designed to spark attention.